The gruff voices of military men barked orders among each other as they stormed the hideout. "All units at the target house, proceed to enter! Breach! Clear! Go! Go! Upstairs!" A gun was pointed at the infamous facelift as an officer yelled, "Facelift, don't move, or we'll shoot! Hands in the air now!" Other commands in the group were uttered. "Facelift is in sight! All units, bring in alive! Stun rounds only!" The officer shouted louder, "Facelift! Out of bed! Now!" Jack yawned and said in a daze, "What's going on, sir?" "Shut up! We're here for her!" the officer shouted. "You're here for my wife, sir." "That thing is not a woman. It's a man wearing woman's skin." "That's ridiculous." "It's the truth. He could play the part, but the freak lacks the indoor plumbing." Jack turns to Facelift and said, Wait, all this time you're a man?" "Well, you were bi anyway," Facelift said slowly. "That's not the point! You've been lying to me!" Jack roared. "Okay, what was I supposed to say? Hi, I'm an immortal drag queen serial killer." Jack was astonished and said, "What the fuck? You're a serial killer too?" The officers were laughing and said, "Look, we got some soap opera drama going on here. Okay, Facelift, you had your moment. Now hands up and stand on the floor." The drag queen obeyed while sighing and was thrown to the floor by bearded man. "Derek, shoot the witness!" "Wait, no!" Bang! Subject is on way to facility. Hours had passed, and Facelift finds herself in a bright room, strapped to a chair. A middle-aged man in a white lab coat entered and said casually, "Welcome back to containment." "You killed him," she murmured while looking to the floor. "Yes, my dear, and we cannot have witnesses. Besides, it's not like you could return to him after knowing about your little white lie." "May I take off my disguise?" she asked quietly. "Yes, you may," the doctor answered, and two personnel entered the room to unbind their captive from the chair. They watched as she had emerged from beneath the skin suit and allowing it to fall to the vinyl floor. The doctor continued the conversation. "So, we found some things since you escaped the SCP Foundation. It appears that Eyeless Jack had discovered your business with Jeffrey Woods and that you had murdered him. Mr. Woods had been missing for 2 months. Yes, why should I care about that emo clown?" Facelift said while chuckling. "Oh, the fucker had it coming and was an overrated edgelord with no class." Doctor's face remained neutral while clearing his throat. "Now on to another subject pertaining to the Slender creature. When it approaches, it emits a static signal that disrupts electronic devices. After much research and experimentation, we have been able to manipulate that signal. We can distort the Slender Man, and with his teleportation scrambled, we can terminate him." Facelift's eyebrow raised and said impatiently, "What does this have to do with me?" "Oh, you have a role to play, my dear. You are to be bait for Slenderman, and you shall be compensated with freedom and under witness protection," the doctor answered. "And if I refuse?" she asked. "Then you'll face execution. Choose wisely," he said casually with a smirk. "Consider it done, darling," she said. Now we switched to Facelift's point of view. So I stood in the local forest, which was 100 miles away from the facility. "So predictable, Slendy," I muttered while sighing and watched the spindly creature materialize before me. The speakers in the trees boomed, and Slender shrieked in pain while holding his head, shifting from static to solid form. "Fire!" the unit shouted in unison. A rain of bullets thundered down upon the body with zero effect on the target. Several jets of flames from flamethrowers failed to incinerate the faceless asshole and only increased its rage. It withstood all types of assault as Slender began his bloodbath, ripping soldiers apart as though they were toys and throwing the parts where it wished during its frenzy. Organs and blood were strewn upon the grass in one huge macabre mess. Its moment of glory had been ended by a tank's blast through his chest, splattering black viscera among the red upon the ground. Unfortunately, when the speakers had shored out, I looked up to discover that the culprit had been Tiki Toby. "You little shit!" I snarled while leaping upon him and pounding my fists into his face and ribs. To my dismay, the strikes could not subdue him, and forgotten the proxy could not feel pain. But do not worry, I fixed the problem by throwing him out of the tree and pinned him to the ground. It was not nice to take someone's toys, but it was convenient to use a hatchet to hack into his neck. The sergeant walked towards me while applauding. "Oh, gee, like I need this asshole's approval." "Well done, 369. You can come home now," the sergeant said with a smile. I saw a familiar form approach from behind and smiled wickedly, saying, "Look behind you, Daddy." Before he could turn his head, blood spurted from his mouth and heard him choking, then fell over onto the grass and leaves. "Jack did care, and he stabbed him for me." "Get back!" I shouted while grabbing the officer's gun and started shooting at the rest of the unit. Jack grabbed my guns from other fallen soldiers, sneaking off into the bushes to shoot at the rest of the unit. His gesture gave me enough time to escape out into the dark forest and away from the vicinity. Of course, there had been some tension to work out as soon as we were in a safe zone. Jack grasped me by the shoulders and scolded me. "What in the hell were you thinking? I had no idea if you were dead or alive. Do you realize how worried I was when you ran off like that? You selfish little bitch!" "Hey, it was not my fault," I said defensively. "Then whose fault was it? Just going off to do whatever the fuck you want without telling me, huh?" Jack continued to rant. "Why are you yelling at me?" I asked, trying to remain calm yet appealing to his dominating nature. "Because I love you. Isn't that obvious? I don't think you know what that could be either," Jack said, a hint of hurt to his tone. His words stunned me, and I started to feel ashamed for disappearing without saying a word. "You love me. I guess you're right that I had been on my own for so long that I'm an idiot about that sort of thing. Could you show me?" I said gently. A soft chuckle escaped from beneath his blue mask, a hand lifting it to expose a smile. "Yes, but you'll have to stick with me from now on, and I will stick with you," he said. I could not resist his smile and how he was worried and killed for my sake. Pushing the mask aside, I kissed him passionately and then whispered, "Be like hot glue?" "How about duct tape for fun later?" he asked. "Yes! Hot sticky fun, I squealed. "Let's make paste elsewhere. Lots of basic people to take out in the next town. For now, let's get a cabin. We can make plans from there," he said while hugging me and stroking my hair. "Did you just make a pun?" I asked. "Yes, I learned from you. Now let's get sticky, shall we?" he said with a devilish smile. We ran together beneath moonlight with blood on our hands and clothes. Best night ever.